Hi, Michelle here. You welcome to my channel. Today, you learn everything that you need to know about the purity movement. So, are you ready? Let's get started. In 1992, in the Midwest of the United States of America, an evangelical youth minister called Richard Ross was repulsed by the sexual deviances thrown at him by the free love movement of the previous decades. In opposition to that immorality, he presented a new theme to give society a spiritual bath from the sins he was witnessing. To protect women from the sexual scandals of the world, Ross spread an ideology that resumed with the saying, "True love waits." This idea was so accepted by the Protestant, Baptist, and evangelical churches that resulted in a new theme to become a repeatable national sexual purity organization called TLW. This organization would be held in events in friendly churches where adolescents would be invited to sign a pledge motto to remain sexually pure until heterosexual marriage. The original True Love Waits pledge reads, "Believing that true love waits, I make a commitment to God, myself, my family, those I date, and my future mate, to be sexually pure until the day I enter marriage." Another big influence to the purity movement was the book written by Joshua Harris in 1997 called "I Kissed Dating Goodbye." The ideas of this book were extremely popular on that time, and the book was read by thousands of purity pledgers. The damages that those ideas would cause were yet to be known. Although the purity movement focused on chastity, it claims that the idea of purity wasn't necessarily attached to the abstinence of sex, but the ideas were more about avoiding sexual immorality than anything else. The purity pledgers argued that the Ten Commandments should be obeyed above all things. And the belt of the Ten Commandments rebuke adultery, and since everyone's destiny is to get married, if you have sex outside marriage, you will be cheating on your future husband, and you'll be committing adultery since you're gonna be kissing somebody else's husband. A quote from the True Love Waits says, "You're like a beautiful rose. Each time you engage in premarital sex, a precious petal is stripped away. Don't leave your husband holding a bare stem." 30 years ago, you could expect to spend around $300 on items like the Purity Princess Survival Kit, the Purity Ring, buying the Don't Play with Fire abstinence candles, purchasing the cute No Trespassing underwear, another merchandises and t-shirts and mug-cups with Catch Purity slogans were also available. But today, you would have a hard time finding those items because the purity movement in the US reached its peak by the end of 90s and early 2000s. So, can you imagine? It has been over 30 years now, and wow, those were extraordinary times, let me tell you. Until the early 2000s, purity parties looked like a prom, luxury weddings held in hotels, banquet facilities, big churches, and family homes. Some purity balls would even be held in castle-like locations. The ball would evoke visions of fairy tales and princesses. As some scholars say, those were royal reminders. In those events, there were abundant, delectable food, all for the contentment of the white middle-class Protestant adepts of the purity movement. Some fathers would even rent limousines to take their daughters to the purity balls every year. Fathers wore tuxedos, nice suits, or formal military uniforms. The girls would wear white wedding-like dressings, with tiaras that reinforced the idea that they were like princes. Often, there was photographers in the balls framing every moment, and the girls used it to get their hair and makeup professionally done before each event. In those balls, young girls would pledge their virginity to their fathers and wear a purity ring to symbolize their commitment. The father would use also a pledge that reads, "I chose before God to cover my daughter as her authority and protection in the area of purity. I will be pure in my own life as a man, husband, and father. I will be a man of integrity and accountability as I lead, guide, and pray over my daughter and my family as the high priest in my home." This covering will be used by God to influence generations to come. Besides of the purity rings, there was always purity jewelry rituals that included the exchange of heart-shaped necklaces from the daughter and the tie tack in the shape of key to the father. And most balls, mothers were requested not to attend. If a mother really wanted to be involved, she would participate on the decor, serve dinner, or clean up the mess. Those ceremonies were popularized by media outlets such as The Economist, The New York Times, Good Morning American, and the Tyra Banks. The events were often sponsored by non-profit organizations. In some rare cases, there was African Americans, father and daughters purity pledges in those balls as well. One of those intents of those rituals were to raise young girls' sense of self-worth on the dating world, that they would be more attached to the idea that they were more valuable, because by affirming that their virginity is guarded by their father, she is pure, feminine, and delicate. She is the ideal girl. She is the ultimate prize of maximum value. So the father were there to stop his princess from kissing any toads along her journey and to move out of her way burdens of emotional baggage that she could not carry. His princess was promised to a young prince who most likely had saved his first kiss for her too. Those purity balls were not reported anymore. Have those princesses become queens? Where are those girls today? Well, most of those girls are on their 30s and 40s right now, and they are mothers of many, many children. They are happily ever married, but not all those princesses got a happy ending. Why? Because so much purity corrupted those innocent souls. The pledgers have mastered resistance, but they gave it away to a traumatic bond with sex. They couldn't possibly just change their mentality in the day of the honeymoon. Some of those women are in sexless marriages today because they don't feel sexually attracted to their spouses that they married in the past. While some people claim that the purity culture completely numbed their sexualities, others claim that it actually woke within them an insatiable and unhealthy relationship with sex. Counseling writes that healing from purity culture means befriending our bodies and coming back to ourselves. But although some girls came back to their bodies, they cannot find someone else to do the same for them. Some women still live in celibacy, over 30 or over 40, and still hoping deep inside of their heart that they will find true love. Because true love waits, right? What a tragic ending for the ideal girl of maximum value. Today, a lot of men and women break up the silence and talk about, although the scenario looked like a dream, it was actually a nightmare for many. How difficult it was to be raised by parents that saw them as pure as diamonds, while they saw themselves as impure as muddy waters. How hard it was to live up to those high standards. The truth is that there is a big amount of pain yet to be unlocked. out of those pure hearts. Today, there's no more purity balls, but a new version of this is when a father takes his daughter to the mall, he buys her a gift, he treats her for dinner in a nice restaurant. Those are called father and daughter dates. When I was at the mall, I used to see a lot of those dates happening. I noticed that those dates happened once a week usually, which I think is an improvement because the balls used to be held only once a year. And I would prefer to be taken out once a week rather than once a year by my father, of course. The most common remaining idea from this movement today is that a lot of people would still believe that the role of a father is to set the standard for when she grows up, so she will know how a man is supposed to treat her. Some social influencers have argued that if a girl doesn't have a father figure, she will not know her value and therefore she will be seeking validation from multiple sex partners when she grows up because she have the desire to feel beautiful and receive the affirmation that she should have gotten from her father. According to Dr. Pat Allen, many women allow intimacy of intercourse when they actually want are strokes of friendly affection, tender loving care, TLC. There you go, guys. The purity movement is explaining. We talked about the ideal girls. In the next video, we're gonna talk about the cure for the common women. Like, share, and subscribe for more. Bye.